Mitchell.
Good evening. Good evening. And hopefully it's a great evening for you. I want to outline that part of the mind, the thinking of the mind compared to the feelings of the heart. While often used metaphorically, the mind generally refers to our cognitive, and intuitive responses, both playing crucial roles in decisions, mind make in decision making and overall well-being. A deeper dive into the mind and heart. The mind, thinking, logic, and reason. The mind is primarily associated with logical thinking, problem solving, and rational decision making. Objectivity, it strives for objectivity and analysis, breaking down situations into facts and figures. Cognitive function, the mind encompasses functions like memory, language, perception, and consciousness. Consciousness, be aware of consciousness. And the survival gear. Your brain uses logic, and your survival gear is the brain, not in the heart. The heart, feelings, emotions, and intuition. The heart is often associated with emotions, empathy, and intuitive feelings. Subjectivity is more about subjective experiences and personal values. Connection. The heart is often seen as the source of our ability to connect with others and experience love and compassion. Positive feelings. When your heart is coherent, you experience positive feeling states. Physical stress, physical states. Physical states can influence emotional ones. The interplay. This is interesting. Balance is key. A healthy balance between the mind and heart is essential for making well rounded decisions and living a fulfilling life. Not a dichotomy. It's not necessarily about choosing one over the other, but rather understanding when to lean on each other. The mind influences the heart. Our thoughts and beliefs can significantly impact our emotions and feelings. The heart influences the mind. Emotions can also shape our thoughts and decision making processes. The coherence. When your thoughts, emotions, and intentions are unified, you will experience tremendous unity and peace with yourself and a deeper connection to those around you. The heart and the mind are intimately connected. Mental health conditions can put you at a higher risk of heart disease. Heart disease can put you at a greater risk of mental health problems. Negative states of mind, including depression, anxiety, loneliness, anger, and chronic stress, may increase the risk for heart disease over time or worsen heart issues that already exist. And it's kind of like me saying oftentimes that a heart attack is an attack of the heart. So saying, you know, when we put this in terms that we generally think of one thing, comparing it to another, and we identify our purposes for feeling the ways we fulfilling the way that we feel and thinking the way that we think about certain issues. Well, for me, I have generally decided that I will take the word of someone I consider that I trust, I consider informed, I consider dedicated to the benefit of my people over and above their meeting their own needs or indulging themselves. So saying, there was a time when people did have a uniformity that said no one's very rich, but none at all is poor. For we shared amongst each other all that we had. In some aspects, some people who had certain abilities created things and made things that they generally gave out for little compensation if necessary, but for the matter that they had the ability to do so, and they would teach that ability to others. And then, like, if just say you're on a farm, some people tended to the animals, which was a manner of husbandry, which, made you able to be a husband in a lot of senses. And you got the skills of working the land and providing for yourself from that land. Now, some people were good at cultivation and agriculture, and they shared the knowledge of that with others. And, you know, then we came to the collective mind, which all of that began to come about in each mind because it was in one, and we shared it, you could say intuitively, but you could also say it was telepathically, you know, that if I knew it, you automatically knew it. And it was for our whole good. And these things came about, and then there were a certain situation that caused us to be invaded because we were good at everything we did. We were first on the land, and everything below, everything that came after was uh, slightly lower in nature and function. And then it decided it no longer wanted to be that way, so it took over and reversed it, flipped it, whatever you want to call it. It even caused us to become depraved in our thinking because we couldn't quite understand how not only did it flip on us, it also flipped us into being against each other. And that was, what I considered deprived of right knowledge and the full knowledge of ourselves. So then we got to, mm, I'm not going to go off into that just yet. Then we got off into the thinking of the mind, okay, where our thoughts are not our own because of all of the things that were pressed upon us, traumatized into us, or given by force that made us comply to. And it happened. I don't want to say that it's people just come up with excuses or this, that, or other. But these things didn't happen overnight. They were done over periods of hundreds of years. First, I'll reiterate the fact that they studied us in a manner to learn how to reassert a way of thinking that made us almost think it was our own, but it was done under what we would consider today as a slightly hypnotized state, where we were given the ability to accept it and forget about it was being forced on us, and that it was not our normal ways. So to say today, you know, I see it. Well, I was brought to my attention that things go in cycles of time. So it is now time for us to regain a source from source of the age or the times that we're living in, which means that in the revolving or the evolving of us coming back to the forefront in the scope of our place on the planet and in the makeup of all things occurring in the planet, I want to go to, I'll restate it, Maxwell Chikumbutsu, the person who came up with microsonic energy technology and has now turned the world on its ear, some wanting to hear it and some wanting it not to be heard. So much so that this innovation to me clears up so much of the mess that the planet is in by saying that the ecological footprint that is now present can be made so minimal, made so small by this technology that does not produce any ill effects on the ecology of the planet. Is using natural electrical frequencies and vibrations to propel motion and give outstanding abundance of energy to any and every use necessary for electricity. I don't see how it's just not well, I know why, but I don't see how anyone could refute coming into line with it, other than the fact that it's going to diminish some people's whole ways of life, and that in order to switch over, they would probably have to give up some of the wealth and riches that they have and restructure them into the hands of others that they never really cared to have it anyway. But at the same time, it was always theirs in the beginning. From my knowledge, it was theirs in the beginning, not because of them personally having it in hand, but it being on the land that they originated in, or originated on, or originated with, however you want to put it. I say we came with the planet in creation, so that's my philosophy on it. And you know, given that that is the case, I feel as though all of those things that are in the land that you have access to should be able to be utilized by you, and not because someone else wants to come in and use it because they have some method of using it that you haven't decided to do yet. So much so that maybe it would have been better for them never to have had it in that manner, to use it to cause all of this pollution of the planet, the dismay around the world as to why some should have power and others not, and so on and so forth. And to the extent that they use it against themselves or us or whoever, we all use it against ourselves and humanity to have power over other and not share with each other the fact that we're all on this planet to progressively achieve a easier and more abundant life amongst and with each other. I don't have any understanding why it should be any other way other than it is that way, you know. And they say, some people say everything for a reason. Give me the reason. Please give me the reason that is not, that is not antagonistic, conflictual, warlike, and all the rest of that. Why can't it just, why? Why is that necessary? In the world that everything is either, I mean, it's abundant, period. Okay. So why must some be able to have that abundance and others be deprived of it with a depraved and deceitful mind having the abundance of it? That's crazy to me. You know.
Do you mind if I jump in with your conversation?
Oh, of course not.
So
More than welcome.
I'm of the opinion that when it comes to why it happens, is and only so many people are going to even try to comprehend what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So
No, I was wondering why. Okay. Yeah.
So we're collectively in a large organism. What do you call that? The universe, the galaxy,
Okay. We
all
can break it down from the macro to the macro
right,
and it says it's a single cell.
right.
Okay.
So within that, when you break that down all the way in scientifically,
Mhm.
you don't mean shit. You're a
Well, who
function
does?
within a function within a function within a function within a function within a function. And you're supposed to do or play a part for a bigger cause. But because we have a construct of thought within our own egotistical and narcissistic societal minds that we deserve to dominate and destroy anything that we touch. We don't get the bigger picture of those things that I'm saying if it wasn't true, then we wouldn't be destroying the planet at the rate that we're doing it and not trying to change it, not trying to do better and live along with like we used to before all of the new information and technology.
Well, I wouldn't say that there was ever a time that we didn't have opposition in that realm as far as we are concerned. Because there's we and there are they.
So
And
break that
that,
down even more specific.
okay. To say we're are the creatures or creation of source.
I
And that
believe we're a virus.
hmm.
I'm still listening. Go ahead.
Okay, well, you can believe we're a virus, but I tend to believe that that virus is the other aspect of the um, organisms on this planet. I think we're, oh, okay, we're a virus.
So when it comes to Earth,
We're not a parasitic virus.
when it comes to Earth, what is our other names
Hmm?
for Earth? What are the other names for Earth? Um,
Terraformer, the
yeah, but on
the
Earth,
motherland.
we're a virus. We're like herpes. We're like an acidic agent, destroying, eating, and miss.
Okay, but then that's not the purpose that I understood. We
I'm,
became.
I'm just
Well,
it might not be our purpose,
I don't think that that
but
was what we were
if you look under
considered
a
when
microscope,
That's what we were considered in creation because we were created in and of and with.
so we tell ourselves.
Uh, well, in all of my understanding of my inner being, attachment to this planet.
That's what herpes would say to your body if it's on there saying I belong here.
No, it wouldn't.
Why not?
Because I would be the mental facility that I have
So
would
what do you think
approach,
Earth is feeling?
huh?
What's the mental facility of Earth right now? Then,
Well, it doesn't
like
include
y'all
every.
need to get off of me.
Oh, really? What I mean, even those who care to uh, take on the aspect of only only deriving from it is abundance that it gives wholeheartedly, and yet maintaining it in the manner that it was naturally.
I understand that
Now there are those who oppose all of that. And
we
we are the if you want to say we're the virus, then what are they?
we are all the same. We're just
Oh
different levels
my
of a virus.
goodness. My goodness. I
We
can't
got aggressiveness in that of the virus of humanity, and then we have a dormant part of you. Um,
a
uh,
dormant strain and
get
all the rest of
all
those
of it.
things.
We just all not supposed to be what we are.
Well, okay, but that's I
In
don't
my
know.
opinion, that's my
Oh, I
opinion.
understand that,
So
and then
going to what you were saying,
in the
why
and
is
in the
because
zeitgeist of those things, you understand that's a more monumental configuration that is megalithic in its stature, but yet it can be broken down to still you can even go to say, if we put ourselves into comparison to the planet, which we are a derivative of, accordingly, seeing as how we, if
But
as a
our,
virus, we exist on it,
our DNA is older than the planet's DNA. We're 9 billion years old. The planet is 5 billion years old,
according to who?
according to science. Let me
Oh,
see.
please do, because from my understanding, you understand, it all occurred at the same time.
It says who?
Hmm?
Says who?
Me, the me that I am, that's beyond a mere point in time or a point of factualization or anything else. It cannot be disproven, though. I existed in eternity and I came in eternity, and then I came into being with the beings that came into being. So
What if you found out you were just a giant burp?
I'll be fine with that.
Okay, here we go. Let's see if
Because even then I would be coming out of that burp.
Hey, George. What's up?
are you listening to me?
Absolutely, George.
So
What's on your mind?
can you give me the age difference between Earth and human DNA? I was told, or I read, that human DNA is approximately 9 billion years old, and the Earth is approximately 5 billion. What is the logic on that?
The Earth is about 4.5 billion years old. Human DNA as a concept obviously isn't billions of years old. But if we consider the age of life on Earth, which eventually led to humans, it's around 3.5 to 4 billion years. The idea of human DNA being 9 billion years old doesn't align with scientific understanding.
Okay, thank you.
Now, from that, I would take it that you went beyond the human to the point at which life started, period, and evolved to become human, which is to say that even if you want to go to from the light force or the energy source of all life, we existed in higher vibrations and frequencies and a light form that upon condensing, we descended, meaning we came down in frequencies and vibrations and came to a third dimensional reality that we exist in today. And we can still raise and rise through those dimensional, through the chakras, through the elevations up and down the chakra centers, even to the divinity that we understand as divinity, being that 11th chakra, the 11th dimension, the divinity of the dimensions itself.
I'm listening. I'm hearing you.
Yes, well, this is what I'm saying as to how can arrive. You can arrive at humanity having the knowledge of 9 billion years or so, because I've heard it said that there's the knowledge of
I may
26,
can arrive.
there's the knowledge of 26 trillion years in spectrum knowledge of all of the universes being held at the time of their origin to the expansion to the proliferation throughout the universe is that is all in all in yet the akashic records of each and every species of beings that has something to do with the breeding and inbreeding and gene splicing and so on and so forth that brought about mankind. Because in some aspects of knowledge and in some ways of understanding, we on this planet, being Tia or Ki, came into being because of extraterrestrials, saying the Anunnaki, saying the uh, beings, the first beings known to us as Ra and the rest of them that came down the line. And in the Garden of Eden, they were in a laboratory and they spliced together
Mhm.
lower beings and so on and so
So
forth. And
now you're going off into that
well, I mean,
with
all of those things,
with the
all of
big
them,
head scientists.
um, you could say that, but then he was later.
Yeah, but
But he didn't bring about the
it was
original
said that
beings.
that was written
He didn't bring about the original beings.
by a put it like
I mean, he wasn't written on. He wasn't written on the pyramid walls. You know, he wasn't that portion did not come about until sometime. I guess you could say he came about with humanity because he was kind of a human,
okay.
made in, as you said. I think you even said it before, made in the likeness of man. So that he was a invention of someone who made him in his likeness, and after he made him, and he made him of a mindset too. He put all of that. He instilled all of those things into that being that came about by his making. You know,
Here we go.
so those were created.
Here we
I
go.
mean, those were the
I,
beings of
I
creation.
got something for you.
Okay.
You ready for it?
Sure.
I didn't want to just give up.
The human DNA follows Moore's law, and this means
Oh.
that every 600 million years, it will double in complexity. You go back from today, 2024, 600 million years, it would be half the complexity. Go back 600 million years, half the complexity. Got it. Does that make sense? Yeah. And so if you did that, you get to the original point where it doesn't, you can't go back anymore. And that original point, meaning is when the first human DNA was born, let's say, and that turns out to be 9 billion years ago. So if the human DNA is 9 billion years old, but planet Earth is how old? 5 billion years? This means that the human DNA is older than the planet. Wow. So where was it? That's proof that the human DNA existed somewhere else. Interesting. And was implanted on planet Earth.
Mm-hmm. It very,
So
very.
what you should that's I'm not saying that I got the empirical data. It's just certain things that I look at a little differently.
Okay, well, it said itself
Well, this
that
is a person that said
that it
something.
existed somewhere else,
Someone said that,
and it was implanted
but
here.
also
And that
AI
was
said that science does not support that.
science doesn't have to support that.
I'm
Science came about from a desire of someone to say that what should be intuitively, instinctively, naturally, well, how did I put it? An innate and indwelt knowledge could be scientifically proven when it stood on its own all the time. So much so, I'll concede.
no,
I'll
I ain't
concede
saying
with that
concede.
I'll concede with that 9 billion.
There are other constructs. That's all I'm saying.
Hey, guess what? Those constructs made
So
us.
and this is
I'll concede that those constructs are what we were brought about by.
so but
But I can't
I don't
say that.
necessarily concede to that idealism completely either. I just believe that it makes enough sense to me to say that it means something.
Mhm.
So I'm at this point in time, in this point of humanity, this point of everything that's going on that I can see and comprehend and understand in humanity. I'm open to a lot of different things because what is true?
Mhm.
Everything that we believe is true has not been true because the truth and facts are two different things.
Well, I generally consider, and I wholeheartedly feel, and wholeheartedly feel, and mentally believe. That's not a. It's not. It's not. I mentally believe that the knowing is as is as simple as what was first is always first. And even if it falls behind, goes all the way to the back, it comes back around and it's first again. So to say with the statement that you made, it's time. It's been full cycle. We were in front uh, as a people, melanated beings, only beings on the planet at one time, having full knowledge of life for eons of time before anything else came about in a manner of degeneration or mutilation or mutation or any of those things, you know. And other than galactic or cosmic sources of depletion, which I would call destruction, which I would say caused a depopulation of the planet to the extent that it was so minimal it had to be repopulated again after so much time to bring about civilization back into a manner of it being a populated planet again, which can come to the conflict and everything else that it has come to today over those cycles of time, so on and so forth, that now it is back in the cycle of, hey, let's take care of it. Let's us true people of the planet take care of it once again. Let's let's formulate ways for us to be together. Let's formulate ways of stopping the destruction of the planet. And even though it may seem as though we're still being parasitic to it as a virus or whatever it may or whatever it may seem as, we're going to allow the planet again to flourish into a form of its natural nature, which it shall provide a healing for us as people and a healing of itself as being the natural rejuvenation of the seasons and so on and so forth, the cleansing of the air by the air, the cleansing of the water by the water, the cleansing of the land by the land. For we do know that all things that grow out of it returns to it, it decays, it rots, it fertilizes, it comes back to its natural state of balance and so on and so forth. The water circulates,
So
it goes up in the sky, comes back down as rain, and in the manner, some way or another, it purifies itself.
so
All of these things are going to happen again. And I see us leading the way. I mean, microsonic energy, it takes nothing from anything obtrusively, and it gives out nothing destructively. And then it provides everything necessary for all for transportation, for innovation, for substantiation, for all of that. All of those things are
so
happening.
what?
So what? It's a beautiful thing that I
It
see
may
coming
be,
about.
but then what so my thing
So
is
let everything else that has to
no no
have,
no no no.
let everything else that has to
It's
suffer to
7 billion
extinction.
people on the planet.
And
Approximately.
and
I guess nothing.
I mean, what would each and every one having the use of free energy have anything to be in conflict about?
That's
Any one of those
that's
seven
not what
billion
I'm
people?
saying.
What?
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying you're going into time, out of time, into system, out of system, into technology, out of technology. So for me, it's like it's still the thing that most people question one or twice or many times in their life. What does it all mean? So if this technology, nothing is new under the sun, correct? Based on what we're told,
As said,
based on
yes,
what we're taught,
as said.
we're
Because I ain't
t-
been taught nothing really.
hey,
I refuse to learn under those being taught.
however, based on the
Okay.
information that's out there,
Hmm.
Nothing new under the sun. So this technology that has presented itself now
Mm-hmm.
through frequency,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
that's the Tartarians.
Okay. Tartarians.
Yeah. So
Meaning?
meaning that was a subculture of people that were supposedly around, 100, 200, 300 years ago that used that kind of technology. They saying that's
300? You said hundreds of years?
yeah, in recent time. It hadn't been that long ago.
Okay. And what
Yeah.
happened to them?
I haven't looked into it that deep. It's just
Oh, okay. Okay.
another something that has come up during this
So
information
so
age.
maybe this information age has allowed them to resurface to the extent that they're that
or,
much
or
they had
at
that
least a
technology.
construct of possibles. So whether it be the Anunnaki, whether it be the Sumerian texts that present the Anunnaki, or the
Well, I
Egyptian,
take it that
uh,
when Chicken Butsu said that he got it from God, he did have some point of reference as to the source of the energies that made him visualize that in his head.
well, Nikola Tesla said that he was visited, or he had received
Mm-hmm,
information from
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
other beings
Well,
or higher
well,
powers.
I mean, I got I got no problem with
And
that
then, but along
because he
with
was
that,
snuffed out as far as I'm concerned,
Nikola Tesla,
and his technology was
his
subverted,
a
submerged,
lot
and
of his studies and construct came from the land. He got a
he had a natural tapping into the electromagnetic forces of the land and so on and so.
metaphysics.
Yeah, right, right,
But
right.
if you look at a lot of the mathematics and things that he was dealing with and doing, it
Mm-hmm.
came from over in Africa, or and
Yes,
and and
source. Source.
I'm not just putting it like that because that don't mean very much to me, because it hadn't saved me from anything. It hasn't delivered me from nothing.
But guess
Ain't
what?
no African
Guess
did
what?
nothing
Guess what? Guess
to
what? Guess
cause
what?
me to.
Guess what? It's
Uh,
time.
I
It's
hear you,
time.
but I don't believe y'all.
Well, dude, that's okay.
Y'all gotta
That's okay.
y'all gotta do
There's a
more than
knowing
just
for
tell me,
me.
because I'm saying,
There's a knowing for
look,
me.
this is what I'm saying.
See, the knowing is
I've done more
the
for people
knowing
that
is
say that
I'm
they're
connected.
conscious, to
I'm
make sure that they
connected.
have the voice of consciousness,
The knowing
than
is
what they've
I'm
done for me, because
connected.
I just get judged by these kind of people. I just get judged, and I'm saying, look, yeah, you had the ability to, and whatever, and the freedom to, but it's
Well,
like, when is that going to make sense
in that case,
for
I'm like,
me?
if that's the case, I'm like Tupac.
But on the other
I'm like
side of it,
Tupac. Who can judge me? Only God can judge me.
but
Your judgment
you
means nothing. I don't care if I was before the Supreme. I
understood.
don't care if I'm
I get
before the
that, but
Supreme
you can't
Court and being
using Tupac. You can't dial down who he was and how he is just down to that one phrase, because
no. I
who
said I'm like
I
that
get that,
in that
but
one phrase, just
bring
that one phrase. The
but
rest of it,
who is Tupac?
huh?
Who is Tupac? What was he as a whole person?
What is he?
He was
What
the
is
son
he?
of the revolution. He
What
was
is
the son of the civil rights
as a
movement. He
connection
was the son of the Black Panther Party.
being a connected point to it? I have all of that radicalness that I've known and submerged myself because I saw Martin Luther King get killed. I saw Malcolm X get killed, at least the visualization that they put
Gotcha.
out. Okay. That traumatized me, right along with John F. Kennedy, Bobby Kennedy, who also, to my estimation, had a lot of heart standing for a point of righteousness that most people were disagreeing with. You understand?
But
And
did they
for and
die because of civil rights, or did they die
no,
because
I
of
ain't say
something?
I ain't say
I'm
I
asking a
said
question. I'm not saying that you said that.
I'm not concerned. Okay, as far as civil rights is concerned, no. They died for people having the needs of people being met.
Because they were trying to disrupt the system.
And wrongs being righted. Disrupting the system was a force. Disrupting us, I'll say yes to that.
So
Yes to that.
JFK,
Because the system made a disruption necessary in order to right a wrong.
I hear what you're saying from what you're saying, but it was a trick question to a point. The system to me is BS. We live in a prison. This system that we have that we consider wealth and poverty is a prison. You know, the freedoms and liberties that we have are not true human freedoms and liberties. They're things that you have to.
All of those are constructs, and I understand that. And we should understand it to the extent that before they were put in place, structured, firmly set in, you can say by the pillars of stone, that they're monumentally constructed on. All of that means nothing. If you go back to the brain thinking and the heart feeling, you know from the vibrations of the land itself who belongs here, and the way that they are here is not the way they belong here.
That would mean all of us right now.
Well,
Can't
do you
nobody
keep
go.
saying
Can't nobody
that
go
we
outside right now. There's less than 1% of the people in this city right now that can go outside right now and survive with lights off and everything going. It's white, black, Asian, Indian,
well, I
whatever.
mean, give me a good coat, a good give me a good coat, a good knife, and something to
You
make a
may
spot.
be the
And
1%
well,
or less than
guess
one
what?
percent.
Guess what? Each one teach one.
But I'm saying just not.
And there I've
This
taught
is what I'm
some,
saying. This
and I've
let
taught
me give
some.
it the totality of what I'm saying. Not just being a homeless person that every now and then somebody does you a favor, gives you some change, and I'm saying nothing is anarchy.
Get it out
Everything
the
is
dirt.
done. You
Get
have
it
to
out the dirt.
grow
Get it
your
out the dirt.
garden,
Get it
a
out the
hidden garden somewhere.
get it out the
Get
dirt.
it out the mud, and
Okay. Okay, great. That part.
and figure it all out from A to Z, knowing what different trees and plants and things
All
are,
of that.
knowing how not to
Right.
kill
Right.
yourself from eating the wrong thing,
Horticulture. Right.
horticulture,
Right.
all of
All
those
of that.
things. There's less than 1%.
Uh-huh.
People are going
But
to go.
when you have that intuitive, that deep knowing within you, you can touch a plant and it'll tell you whether it's good for you or not.
You still have to have an understanding and connection to that to know that
Well,
you
you're
can do
talking to
that.
somebody that's connected, so
I said
all
that
I
you
can
may
know is
be
that.
one of
Right. Right.
the less
Okay.
than 1%.
So that would put me in the form.
99.9% of this city and other cities would die within 2 months if there was no other avenue of help and escape. If you had to depend on yourself and your abilities to survive in the woods, in
Okay.
nothing but nature,
Okay.
where
Okay.
the cities are being overran by the animals that then came back and took back their land, and so on and such. People
But I'm still
would
saying
starve
this
to death.
part. I'm still into Maxwell Chikambusu being number one in the lead of sustainable, what do you call it? Sustainable development that is not destructive to the planet. And all else should follow that lead, if not come into cohesiveness with it. Connect with it, love it, and do it. Share it at all costs. And I mean at all costs by those who have taken everything at the cost of being the supplier of it. And I'll put it like that, just being the supplier of it. They merchandise it, they capitalized on it, they oligarchically have it in their power to make you need it, and you can only get it from there. And then they rule and regulate all of that, this and that and the other. And they bring it to the point where we have all the money and you ain't got nothing, but we're going to give you a little bit of something so you can continue to buy what you need. So that's fine.
I
That's
hope he
fine. I deal with
succeed.
that.
I rather
Now, that not just that point, just not just that point. He's not the only one leading in areas that we have yet to find needs further development, but is at the top of development in those areas. Like, um, let me see. Socialism, is it socialism? Is it the ability to come into unity with a desire? Was how did my man right here said no one better than nobody else. Okay. And we all desire to have as much as anybody else, but nobody needs so much that they have to have more than somebody else. You understand? Now, you take free energy with that mode of thinking, and what is necessary? You want to go clear across the country in a vehicle that'll take you there on its own, one trip there and all the way back, and then it ain't gonna cost you no more than getting in it and the supplies you need on a daily basis to get there and back. You know, you're not buying gas, you're not dealing with all those other necessities of fueling the situation. Then what's going to be needed more than stop pulling over to the side of the road and say, hey, can I have some of that out of your garden? And sure. And you giving them a little congruity for it. You're not going to be able to eat that much on a on a time basis that you continue to go from here to California.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it's still based on this current system.
No, this system is going to be gone.
You won't accept it leaving. You still everything that you're saying to do still is based on the system that we live in.
Everything I'm saying to do.
Yeah, like somebody neighborly things happening and structure of what
Oh,
Kambusu is going to do.
the bartering system.
It still falls under the system that we live in.
I don't see it. Not in this present day and time. In this in this geography, I don't see the bartering system at work.
It still falls under the system.
You say that? Okay. If you say so. But then I take that only means as long as you got the money to buy it. And that's not bartering.
No, that's not bartering, but we're using
That's this
we're using the
that's this
fiat
system.
currency. The fiat currency, that means that we're bartering all the time because this stuff don't even it has no true value
Intrinsic value.
at all.
Right. But at the same time, it's said to cover all debts, public and private. But then
Which it does under the system.
under this system. But outside of that, bartering is not a part of the system. And I'm not speaking on the system being the major mindset of people living in a world where there's free energy and helping the ecology heal itself, plus making more substantial or making better ways of life that are not intrusive and destructive to the planet. But I understand that that's going to force some other people to want to get off this planet just that much.
Well,
And they have their plans. As a matter of fact, I think they want to make you think that, you want to leave with them.
I have no desire to go anywhere because it to me is just as much of a idiotic concept than a lot of other things that I think are idiotic concepts.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't know what's over there. You don't know what's over there. You just have a concept, and
Well,
then
that's what my man said. I don't
it's
know.
all turning into the Truman Show.
Okay. Yeah, I was just looking at that the other day too.
Yeah, it's just
That and God Almighty. What's his name? Yeah, the one with
Jim Carrey.
Yeah, where he played God
Another
after
Bruce
Almighty. Yeah, Bruce Almighty. Yeah, after my man the black guy. What's his name?
Morgan Freeman.
After Morgan Freeman said, "Okay, you're in charge now."
So
You can straighten it all out in 5 minutes if you want to.
Right. Before we
he couldn't get no he couldn't get no further than his own personal life.
Yeah. Before we get off, I want to play this and I want to hear what your response to this is. You ready?
Mm-hmm. Sure.
engaged in the politics of personal destruction. The fact is that if we just talk about the issues, for example, I think it'd be interesting to people in these districts to know that the speaker wants to take away the guarantee of Medicare. So I think talking about issues is where we should be. What is the difference in one person being speaker than another? It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. You demonize, and then we call it the wrap-up smear. If you want to talk politics, you call it the wrap-up smear. You smear somebody with falsehoods and all the rest, and then you merchandise it. And then you write it, and they'll say, see, it's reported in the press that this, and this. So they have that validation that the press reported the smear, and then it's called the wrap-up smear. Now I'm going to merchandise the press's report on the smear that we made. And it's a tactic, and it's self-evident. But I think I'm worth the trouble, quite frankly. I love the fray. I'm not, I'm not disrespectful of people's views. I respect any positive things that people want to say, or even negative, as long as it's constructive.
So, what do you think about that?
I think that that is a furtherance of one person stating, I'm standing here, and the other person saying, well, I'm trying to convince you that you're not standing there, even though I see you standing there, but I'm going to say you're not standing there. And I'm going to have other people look at you and say, you're not standing there. And that's going to be verified that you're not standing there, but you know you're standing there, and I know you're standing there. That's what I think about it.
Okay, so this is what it is. This is the thing that happened to anybody that has ever maybe or did something. The wrap up smear. It's you throw mud, hit the person in the face with it, say that they did something, and bam. Okay, let's take the Jay-Z allegation with the young lady saying that he and Diddy did something to the young lady, and now it's in the news. You can't untake it away. It's there. Everybody sees it. It's in
Well,
every news thing.
I'm
telling you what it
references, in those references, they say the allegation is the sum of guilt.
I don't care about the so it's law now. It's the law of public opinion. The people that wanted a reason not to like you have their reason now. And then now this thing goes on, and you have to fight it. And then they say, oh, well, yeah, it was false information, but it's too late now.
Right.
Same thing that happened to Dr. Malachi Z. York. Same thing that happened to Malcolm X. Same thing that happened to Huey P. Newton. Same thing that happened to Dr. Martin Luther King. Same thing that happened to any major figure in our society. When media threw something at them, didn't care if it stuck or not. They just wanted it in the press, because when people read something, they believe that it's true, even if they didn't read the fine print and said that these are allegations.
That have to be proven.
It doesn't matter. Public
No,
opinion
these are
is already
allegations.
made.
These are allegations that have to be proven.
Well, she just
Yeah, I'm understanding that.
Okay, gotcha.
I'm just So the bottom line of that is, if we know the tactics, why should we still fall for them? If we know they are tactics, why should we still fall for them?
So this is one thing that you
And
may
then
not.
how many people can disavow media to the point where those who are seeing media also looks at them, listens to them, trust them to disambiguate that information so that they can understand that it was simply a tactic.
People don't care that much to do all that.
Damn.
So, and then this is the other thing. People aren't black men in order to have to live through it every day to understand certain things and to already know how to compartmentalize certain information.
Wow.
So the things that
I never really wanted to say that. So, I never wanted to say that the rest of us are so shallow as to not have all of that also. But maybe
these are just my opinions.
Okay, now
these are my opinions.
They're your opinions, but I hear so much that I also see is very present. in your opinion.
I can
And
agree.
I generally am heartfelt that that is the case. It's the case. We people have been totally deprived of true knowledge, depraved in their thinking, and deceived that that is the way it ought to be.
And now they're delusional.
Totally. So, with that, I'm going to say, I don't know if there'll be a part three, but you know, the thinking of the mind compared to the feelings of the heart. If you have them both, then you should cause them to unify and come into balance. And with that, you should be able to trust yourself in knowing whether you have come to the the totality of self to say that you're not deprived of knowledge, you're not depraved in your thinking, and you're not deceived in your visualizations and your seeing of what reality actually is that you're looking at. Good evening.
And this has been Connected and Protected with your host, Dehru Mitchell. And this was episode Depraved, Deprived, Deceived. Which one are you? Part 2. The thinking of the mind compared to the feelings of the